Okay, remember that they're changing my voice. In this video, I'll prove definitively that the reason why certain Asians, certain white people, certain Jews, and certain LGBT people are leading the charge to make the affirmative action fuss is because they want to argue that they think that black people are magically fucking stupid. Okay? And that they are naturally, magically fucking inferior, and therefore they need the white man's fucking tutelage, is their argument. You need to understand that. Now, some of you will say, no, hear me out now. All you who don't agree, watch how I put you to shame. So when an Asian person gets rejected from Harvard, whether it's affirmative action or otherwise, and many of them are still getting rejected from Ivy League schools, ending affirmative action didn't help all of them who wanted to get in. It simply didn't. But when they get rejected and they get taken by, say, San Jose State, okay, maybe UCLA or wherever they go next, what happens to them? Do they go fucking homeless? Okay? And they scream, why? From a homeless encampment and go to the psych ward? Probably not. What happens is they go to a different college, right? And then they apply for jobs. Maybe they don't get their first job the first time, but eventually they get a job. That's what happens in the vast majority of cases. So then it begs the question, why the fuck would communities come together and say, we need to end affirmative action, it's not fair to us? What is the major effect it has? It goes back to what I said at the start of this video. It is to pretend the group of people, which I must then assert is naturally the smartest, is magically fucking stupid. Now, why must I assert it? Well, let's go back to the primitive stages of man. When all races were in Africa, natural intelligence, right? Life intelligence, existential intelligence, interpersonal, intrapersonal. And the smoke fucking cleared. Whoever's smarter is still going to be in the most resource-filled land. Who the fuck won? Who the fuck won for tens of thousands of years? Mind, body, soul, and spirit. You see what I'm saying? And I bet you if every black person started saying that and people started saying, hey, that sounds right, if these motherfuckers would stop with their racist bullshit. So if you want to play the game of who's smarter than who while Jesus is back, I'm going to fucking take it there more than I otherwise would. Big brother, right now, I guarantee the government officials right now who are listening to this feel fucking disgraced and embarrassed. And they feel like shit. And I have won this motherfucking exchange. Okay, remember that they're changing my voice. So obviously, the spectrum of black people as warriors goes beyond the spectrum of the other races. I'm sure we can all agree it's obvious. It's been popular culture forever, and people have known this right forever. So, as you see that I was very angry, and rightfully so, okay, we see that that's the expected response from the black community. Part of the reason why people get assaulted, it's not necessarily because of the affirmative action debate, okay, it's because it's the way society in general treats black people. And the affirmative action is an excellent example of that, where you see that there's a bunch of races who have a lot of whitewashed people who sound like maybe Beavis and Butthead, or they sound like some smart aleck fraternity frat boy or something. And they say, dude, we think so-and-so is dumb, and this group is dumb, and oh, well, he's this, or they're crackheads, or they say bitch shit like that, right? And what ends up happening is, they get caught slipping outside of a bank or something, not necessarily Asians or whites or Jews, people in general, other black people, and people get the shit beaten out of them. Because the oppressor races in charge refuse to treat black people fairly, and they work the angles and attack them. And when you make it harder to explain something, or they're wrong and you're having difficulty thinking about why, okay, it pisses people off. And they say, okay, if that's how you want to play it, and they run their fist across their fucking jaw. You put a gun in their face and say, what the fuck's up now? And they say, I'm sorry, pal, it's not me. And they act like a bitch. Okay? That's key there. And we know that black people don't play that fucking punk ass hide behind your badge bitch shit. You can look at the amount of officers who get shot and killed all throughout. And it's not the same as working for the government, having a whole police force behind you. It's the difference between a black man versus a racist white boy with a badge. He's like, I wish you motherfucking hellbillies would see me toe to toe. Like, first we're going to sabotage your water and your air first, more than the other races. How about that? Okay, it's not the same thing. One is manning up, the other one's being a saboteur bitch. And if you don't know that, I promise you, you're fucking dumb. And your spirit must be fucking pitiful. So now, due to the nature of the topic, at times I calm down and I think of something that pisses me off, especially something that has to do with combat, and I raise my voice. A bunch of racist white Jews and LGBT people and mental health, that's bipolar disorder right there, because they can't beat me in a debate because my dad is a brain surgeon, he came here penniless and worked his way up to being a brain surgeon. And they're from some privileged line. And if they're Asian or they're another race, they weren't as stigmatized as a black man who came to Detroit, okay, during the race riots in Detroit, during the late 60s. They didn't have that hard of a time. They didn't have the same obstacles. He ran the race with a 50-pound weight. The Asian ran the race with a 20-pound weight. And the white person ran the race with no weights at all, with everyone else being sabotaged on their behalf. Same with the Jew and the LGBT, unless they're a person of color, basically. And my dad came in first place. Top doctor, humanitarian awards, what have you. So, with black people being the most sabotaged group, the most respectable person from my dad's generation is him. The smartest, most respectable, the most respectable from my generation is me. And I'll debate you on that anytime. They're not going to do that, watch. Because they have to resort to fabricated bullshit and social norms instead of the bottom line facts and common sense and better. And so it is with ancient martial art combat. You think Zulus played basketball? Or when they started fighting each other with the other races, Yoruba, Igbo, what have you, that they just relied on brute force and not using their heads? You think you can go through the dangerous jungles of Africa, fighting hand-to-hand combat and shooting arrows at each other, poison darts, without using your fucking head? So you can get on with that bitch-ass shit, because we've already proven which race is the smartest. That's proven. That is proven, proof positive. You then made an education system that was for people who think like white people. And what would you expect in that situation? Let's see, we'd expect that whites, Jews, and LGBT people, because that's where the LGBT cultures really, took off, was in Europe, to do the best in that system. Wait, that's more or less what we see? In terms of groups? White, Jew, LGBT, Asians? They're right in Eurasia, right? Wait, whoa! And you mean the sabotage races who live further from the white man don't do as well in their school system? How could that be? Imagine you think you're smarter than me, and your argument is, how could that be? Are you the son of a brain surgeon who's black, buddy? Came here during the late 60s, around the time Martin Luther King was killed? No! So you're not cut from the same cloth as I am. You don't have the same quality DNA. So you can sit down and shut up and quit embarrassing yourselves and your families.